That's right, Diane. Doctors still appear to be baffled by this new so-called super flu. They're still unsure of exactly how it spreads, and with it reaching near epidemic proportions, the quarantine was enacted and enforced by the National Guard early this morning. Armed troops are not allowing visitors in.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Fangirl Radio. I'm your host, Jessica Dwyer.
Do you see that? What is that? Wait a minute. Holy crap, his eye's hanging out of its socket.
That's nothing. That one's long is dangling next to his hip like a messenger bag.
Guys, that's not helping. I'm trying to intro the show here. Remember the show?
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Just dealing with the undealable.
Understandable. So yes, welcome to our super special Halloween episode of Fangirl Radio.
Special is a good word. Not the one I'd have chosen, but a good word.
Yes, thank you, Barb. So listeners, as you have heard, I have with me my co-host with the most, Miss Rachel Moore.
Send help.
Rachel, not now. We're introing here. We don't need to panic everyone or ourselves just yet.
Did you miss the part about the lung messenger bag?
Also with us is Miss Barb Reese.
Yes, I agree with Rachel. Send help.
Yes. Well, everyone, as you can hear, we're having a little bit of a crisis here at Fangirl Radio Studio.
By crisis, she means the end times.
Have you guys seen anyone that looks like Michael Rooker running around? Because I could handle this a lot better with Michael Rooker.
Hold it together. We're on the air.
Why do we have to hold it together when the shambling hordes have no intention of holding anything together, including their own innards?
Two things. One, that was unnecessarily graphic. And two, we're professionals. Also, why the word innards?
Holy crap. Where did that fence come from?
What fence?
That big imposing chain link thing that's surrounding the building.
Oh, that must be Troy. He said he was going to take care of a perimeter or something. I think he got his Call of Duty buddies to come help with that.
That fence wasn't there like an hour ago.
He's a dedicated gamer. Maybe he maxed out his fence crafting or something. We still have a show to do, guys.
The heck? There are men out there in camo gear with guns. Big guns.
Yes, that would be the Call of Duty guys. They've longed for this day and have been preparing all their lives with countless hours spent in front of a monitor or a TV screen, honing their abilities in the hopes that someday a zombie infestation would break out and make all of the effort and time worth it for just a single moment of feeling like they too can be Ken Forey or Ashley J. Williams.
That would explain why the one guy is yelling, "This is my boomstick."
That's original. Well, I better check in with Troy to see what's going on. Well, listeners, as I said, this is going to be our special show. And by that I mean, if you haven't figured it out, it appears we've got a zombie outbreak that's happening all around us. You're all familiar with my sometimes co-host, full-time husband, Troy. Well, he's outside right now, so I'm going to call him for a status report.
What is it, honey? I'm kind of busy out here.
Hello to you, too. What's the situation like out there? And, nice fence.
Oh, yeah, you like that? Took about 20 minutes.
Impressive. We're on the air, so tell our listeners what's going on.
Well, I've got Larry and David with me out here right now. They're helping me with the defense perimeter.
Did he just say defense perimeter? When did Troy become a special recon man?
Hey, mock the defense perimeter and I will let you turn into zombie bait.
We're not mocking the defense perimeter. So what's the deal with the zombies?
We killed 19 of them today. The last 3, we caught them trying to claw their way into an abandoned shed. They must have thought someone was in there, but there wasn't though. We heard them making all kinds of noises, so we came over, beat them off, and blasted them down.
That's a lot of them for just the 3 of you. They don't look like they're moving very fast. Are they slow?
Yeah, they're dead. They're all messed up.
So if one of our listeners were surrounded by 8 or 10 of these things, would they stand a chance with them?
Well, there's no problem. If you have a gun, you shoot him in the head. That's a surefire way to kill him. If you don't, get yourself a club or a torch. Beat him or burn him. They go up pretty easy.
So you're saying aim for the head?
If you want to get all Edgar Wright about it, yeah, aim for the head.
I'll always go with Edgar Wright. Thanks, Troy, and we'll come back and check on you later.
Strength and honor, babe.
Strength and honor. So there are a few tips for you, listeners, if you see any of these things getting near you.
This is bad.
Rachel, we can deal with this. We've dealt with worse. God knows I've seen enough zombie flicks to know what not to do. I told you all that time rewatching Shaun of the Dead wasn't wasted.
You only did that for Simon Pegg.
She's got you there, Jess.
No, it wasn't. Simon Pegg's goatee is only a bonus in all of this mess.
Mess is right.
You know what? Let's do the Week in Geek. That'll take your minds off of it, and later we can bring our special guests out.
We have guests here?
Yes, that's typically what that statement means.
You didn't say anything about guests.
Well, I didn't say anything about undead flesh-tearing hordes either, but now we got them.
She's got a point.
Continue.
So, this may be the last Week in Geek we ever do on Fangirl Radio, and the last one you all ever hear. And strangely enough, a lot of it has to do with growly dead things, which is sort of fitting for tonight's fiasco. So, the first article is Tom Waits has a biopic that is finally greenlit and is being directed by David Lynch, and they have cast his doppelganger on screen. The actor playing Tom Waits is in fact Ron Perlman.
And usually he's the one fighting the undead thing, not being the undead thing. So it's
and
Ron Perlman world.
I'm kind of trying to figure out how Ron Perlman is going to explain Tom Waits suddenly being. Well, he looks like he's about 3 times the size of Tom Waits.
Well, it's David Lynch, so I don't think he'll just cast everyone else as little people.
Right, Rachel. I think some of those damn zombies got through. I think they're coming through the window.
Zombies, we're trying to do the Week in Geek.
What do we do, man? We gotta, reinforce it or something.
We've got a Night of the Living Dead.
God damn. Carpentry and zombies. What is with building things and zombies?
Carpentry. I mean, we've got all the nails and the wood from the remodel here.
Oh, God. But we can't just go and build crap. We're on the air. What do we do?
You've got that interview you recorded earlier in the week with Greg Nicotero, right? Couldn't you just play that?
Nicotero! That's it! Okay, everybody, we're going to play the Greg Nicotero interview for you that we just did. Walking Dead. So we're going to play that for you right now while we take care of this little problem. Hey, everybody, and I want to have you welcome Mr. Greg Nicotero to the show. He's no stranger to our ridiculousness here at Fangirl Radio, and we love always having him on. And he has now taken over, basically, he is a one-man production crew now for The Walking Dead. He seems to do a little bit of everything on the show. And so, Greg, welcome to Fangirl Radio again.
Thanks. Great to be back.
We're very happy to have you. So I know that you're a busy man, so I'm just going to get right into this. Did you ever think in a million years you would be on Katie Couric in daytime television talking about a zombie apocalypse television series?
No. It's kind of an easy answer. We could have never imagined the success of the show because of the fans. The people that are dedicated to the show really have done wonders for what we do. And it's very, very, very exciting to see that people are catching on to the little tidbits that we've been planting in the first couple episodes. I love listening to people speculate about who burned the bodies in the prison and where did the virus come from and what's going to happen with Michonne and Rick. And I love hearing all of that because, of course, I know all the answers. So sometimes when they're right, I have to smile just as much as I smile when they're wrong, because I want everyone to go on that journey that we've so meticulously crafted.
Well, and I actually have seen, as of this airing, it'll have already been on, but I already know who burned the bodies.
Oh, you do? Okay.
I do. So as of this airing, everybody will have known, and that's something I want to ask you about later. But the one thing I wanted to know was, because the show is just so big now, it is everywhere you look, it's Walking Dead. People that never in a million years would have been watching something like this are watching it and loving it. Does the massive popularity of this help or hinder you and everyone involved in making it? Does it? I always am curious about that because it's so big now.
Well, it would. There's certainly no hindering us. I would say probably the only downside is when we're shooting, and we want to really try to keep what we're doing under wraps because we don't want to, let the cat out of the bag. Mm-hmm. And there are a lot of people who are pretty dedicated to finding out where we're shooting and trying to sneak on set so that they can steal call sheets and let out spoilers. And that's kind of a bummer because it just hurts the rest of the fans. But, the bottom line is that it fuels us. Andy Lincoln and Norman and I, we talk very often about our responsibility to the fans. And, last year especially, Andy and I really took a concerted effort into making sure that season 4 made up for some of the, slight shortcomings of season 3 in terms of character development and things like that. So we couldn't be more pleased with the fact that people have recognized that Scott Gimple is a fantastic showrunner. He's a great leader. The guy's a fan, he was a fan of the show before he ever got hired on season 2. So I've never met a more dedicated and passionate guy as Scott. So it's literally the perfect compliment to the show.
That's awesome. So the one thing I wanted to make sure to ask you about too was season 4 does the time jump trick, which you skip months in the universe of the show, and we come in after things have happened. Now I talked to Andrew Lincoln in previously, and he'd said that they create a history and things for the characters. They are really dedicated, especially Andy. He seems like he's like the leader of the acting group. And they do this stuff to build up the story for them. So when they start, it's already there and it's real. What went down this time? Did that happen with season 4 beforehand with the actors?
Yeah, I think so. I know before season 3, a lot of the actors got together and kind of just had dinner and talked about what they felt had happened in the 7 months of the interim between season 2 and season 3. I think this year it was a little different because Scott Gimple had a very specific agenda in mind in terms of who Rick is, where he was. It wasn't so much that the actors needed to create that backstory because it had already been done.
Oh, gotcha.
So, it's, and they have the actors do have, obviously they have a lot to say about their characters. And I think that that's always what makes the show even more intriguing is the actors' contributions to making those characters great. But I think that this season, the interim time jump was a lot more. There was a lot more thought out in terms of what had gone down in between season 3 and season 4.
Well, and kind of leads into my next question, which is there are so many new people in the prison. How did, what additional benefits and additional not so much as a benefit as how do you work with more of a cast now since it has been so centered and specific on a group? It seems, with this, there's a lot more going on.
Well, yeah, the prison has grown as a community. And as that community grows, there are new personalities, there are new people there, and it becomes more complicated. So, we have the council that consists of Sasha, Glenn, Daryl, Carol, Herschel, and, they're responsible for making a lot of the decisions. Rick has chosen to step back from that leadership role and have the council sort of take the responsibilities of the day-to-day management of the prison while he deals with Carl and Judith and helping the prison community in a different way.
Gotcha. So now the first episode of this season, and you directed this, which this was the most crazy thing I've ever watched. One of the most insane zombie attacks I've ever seen on screen. Can you talk about how hard that was to shoot and what it was like having these guys fall through a ceiling in full zombie makeup?
Well, that it was a very, very well conceived sequence. One of the things that was exciting about it was when Scott and I had been talking about the end of season 3 and finding a way to elevate the threat of the walkers. Our group has survived on the road now for basically a year and a half. They've survived the zombie apocalypse. So they're pretty adept at killing walkers. Mm-hmm. I think the only way that you could challenge them or catch them off guard is by having them unprepared, and it's one thing to be unprepared when 3 walkers come around the corner, but to put our group right in the middle of a walker herd that's literally raining down on top of them was something that came out of a conversation between Scott and I about elevating the threat of the walkers. And then in the writer's room, I actually think that this idea came up as almost like, hey, wouldn't it be funny if, and then cut to 4 months later, we're actually dropping stunt people and dummies through a set roof.
That was one thing I pointed out to everyone. They finally found a way to I don't know how they keep upping the quotient on craziness of attacks, but this I'd never thought of in a million years was having them come through a scene.
Well, and it really was a great sequence to shoot. When I read the script, I saw it instantly. It was just funny to think about. A lot of people were, kind of concerned and weren't really sure how we were going to pull it off. And I flew in a couple days early to start prepping because we had to build that set and it had to be very specifically engineered and made so that we could put stunt people on top, things like that. So for me, I saw it instantly. I'm getting ready to direct another episode right now, and I can, those effect sequences, I can see them. I see it in my head, and that really is a lot of fun because it's just that's what I do. That's what I've been doing for 30 years is visualizing effect sequences. So to be able to visualize it in my head. For the big spot, we storyboarded the whole thing. I had all the storyboards on set and we went through and sort of crossed everything out. We shot that entire sequence in 2.5 days.
Wow. That's amazing.
So, when you watch these big budget sci-fi action movies that have $150 million in 5 months to shoot, and you look at that episode and realize that we shot that episode in 9 days. And 2 of those days were the big spot sequence. So
Jesus,
I was pretty proud.
That's damn impressive. That's the thing about this show is it always is like a mini movie every episode, and people don't appreciate, I think, the amount of. Do you realize how quickly they have to turn that around?
Well, especially when you look at Boardwalk Empire or Game of Thrones or shows like that have 18 days, 20 days to film. We have 8.
Yeah.
So, it's a tribute to the cast. It's a tribute to our crew because we do keep upping the ante every episode and every season. And we still keep pulling it off. It's the curse, it's the curse like at K&B where you get less prep time and less money to build something, but you build it and it still looks awesome. And then the next time the producers come back to you, they're like, okay, so, we know that you had 100,000 last time, but now we got 70,000, but we still want the same. We keep doing it. We keep finding ways to keep it real and keep it fresh. And that's that's something that is the most exciting aspect of the show for me.
Well, and it's because you love it. I mean,
I do love it.
You'll figure a way. You have to love it. You do everything on the show now. I can't reiterate that enough. That you write, you're writing the episodes, you're directing episodes, you're doing all the special effects stuff for the episodes, you're executive producing. I mean, it's just like ridiculous. It's the Greg Nicotero show. It really is.
Well, listen, I have to me, you know, it's like being on stage with Led Zeppelin. You know, I got such an amazing group of collaborators with me that it really is the best job I've ever had. You know, Robert Kirkman was out here when we were shooting episode 9, and we went out to dinner, and he's like, "So, how are you? How you doing?" I'm like, "Dude, this is the best job I've ever had." This really is. You know, the amount of creative freedom I have, the amount of input I have on shaping the stories in terms of the screenplays and the edits and directing, and it's just something that I could have never imagined happening. And now that I'm 50 years old, I feel like I've just started. You know, this career of mine has just started. It's crazy.
That's amazing. So we talked about this earlier, but now we can focus on this because this is going to be, I know you are worried about getting in trouble, but this isn't going to air until after the episode's already aired, so everybody will know. But Carol.
I know, she's a badass.
Oh my God, I did not see that coming until I got to see a preview of the episode, and I'm watching it, and when it clicked in my head was when Rick was leaning down by the door, and I went, oh, snap. It's Carol did it. And I'm wondering, I don't know how much of this you can talk about, but I know in the comics, Carol and Tyrese had a bit of a relationship, there was bad things that happened with Carol's character, and it seems like she's going towards this darker path with everything that's happened, and she was so strong, but now it's like she's starting to snap a little bit too, especially with what she did, and the ramifications of that. How is that going to come back? Is Tyrese going to find out what she did?
I can't tell you that.
You can't tell me that.
I wish I could, but that would be unfair. But what I can say is, I feel like this season we have stuck more closely to the graphic novel.
Oh yeah.
Than we ever have. And that might mean that we change a character up here or there. Something that happens to one character happens to someone else. So you still get the sense that we're following that storyline, but it's not necessarily exactly the graphic novel. And Gimple is a big proponent of referencing the source material. And listen, I will say there's an episode coming up, a couple episodes down, that it's almost a direct translation of one of the graphic novels.
Ooh.
So almost to the point where it was a little Sin City-ish, where we were referencing exact panels from the comic book and shooting them the show.
Nice.
I know.
One thing I had to ask though, what was the reaction? What did Melissa say when she realized that she'd done it?
Oh, are you kidding? She loved it. Truthfully, Melissa didn't. Her character didn't have a lot to do in the second half of last season. She got a little lost in the shuffle of so much other stuff going on, and that was something that we really wanted to remedy this year. We wanted to make sure that the audience knew who Carol was, they knew who Sasha was, they knew who Tyrese was, because we really didn't get a big sense of who they were last year. So it's really important. Melissa McBride is such a great actress that it really seems like a no-brainer. And it's great to add those little complexities. You see her and we had seen Carol as, she was mourning the loss of Sophia, and then she was able to move on. And now she's at the point where she's determined to make sure that not only does another child suffer the same fate as Sophia, but she's taken the protection of those children who, in her mind, probably aren't capable of protecting themselves very, very much in her own hands, which is why she did it,
Oh, yeah.
She tried to stop the onslaught of the plague because she was trying to protect people. And there was no doubt in her mind that she did the right thing. No remorse. She doesn't feel bad.
Right. And that came across, and I think that's what threw Rick was...
Well, of course it threw Rick. Because, listen, Rick is still a policeman, and Rick is still, even though he's not necessarily the guy in charge of the prison, he still clearly has a vested interest in making sure that everybody lives.
Right. I have to say, I do love the fact that the episode titles kind of apply to everything, like especially in that episode called Isolation. It just, Tyrese was alone in his own way. Carol was alone in her own way. And just the whole thing, it was just so beautifully put, like everybody is in their own place, including Rick, because now he's the only one that knows what really happened and what's he supposed to do. And I really
I think so too. That it really is very thought-provoking. The name of episode 1 was 30 Days Without an Accident, and you're kind of like, oh, that's interesting, and and then when you go back and you watch the show and you realize that the theme of the show is that's probably the last time that you're ever going to get any sort of levity or lighthearted moments.
Yeah.
Michonne and Rick, make some jokes together, and Daryl and Carol make jokes, and Carol calls him Pookie, and Tyrese and Karen, and then Beth and Zach. It really is. The prison seems like it's kind of an okay place to live, and by the end of the episode, that's all just torn apart.
Yeah, and everything, including like the character that I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Great actor, but he was joking with Daryl, trying to figure out what he'd done before everything went.
Yeah, that was Zach.
Zach, that's right.
Kyle Gallner played that.
He's a doll. He is a great actor. I got to meet him a while back, and
yeah, he's awesome. I felt bad. Listen, that part about it was he flew in. We did a headcast of him for his demise, and he flew in and he was here for like a week and a half, and he's like, dude, I like it down here. You guys are a great group of people. I'm like,
sorry.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry, buddy. It is kind of interesting that I don't think I've directed an episode where somebody didn't die.
Yeah, usually when we see your name up there, it's like, oh, yeah, something bad's going to happen. Nicotero's involved, something bad's going to happen.
I killed Dale, I killed Merle, I killed Zach. I'm trying to think in episode 11 where Andrea comes back to the prison last year, I don't think I killed anybody in that one. Except for the walker that we bashed his teeth out.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for that. I have tooth problems going on right now. Thank you for reminding me that. Well, Greg, thank you again for joining us. It's always a pleasure to have you on, and thank you again for making such an awesome show. I can't wait to see the next one, and keep it up, man.
Thank you. It's I'll tell you, the hardest thing for me right now is knowing where the show is going, and it's like I feel like I want to sit next to people while they're watching it and literally go, "You have no idea what's going on," because it's so great. I'm so excited about this season.
Oh my God! Wait! Holy shit! We have a caller. Caller, you're on the air.
Holy shit! I'm on the air.
Wait, I don't think we can say that on the radio.
You just did though.
Oh shit! You're right. Ignore that. What's your name and what's the situation there out there right now? Can you tell us what's going on?
My name's Kristen, and, well, really, if you've seen Hollywood Boulevard at around 2 a.m. on a Friday night, you've got a good idea. Only with less neon and maybe more screaming.
That makes oddly a lot of sense. Are you safe?
Yeah, we're locked up tight and cozy. I've got my master replica Loki staff next to me. It's a bit worse for wear, but that pointy end works wonders on these things.
Are you wearing the horns? You are, aren't you?
No comment.
That's enough of an answer. Well, thank you, Kristen, and stay safe. And glory to Asgard.
Glory to the true king.
Hey, hang on a second. We got another caller. Hang on. I got to answer this. Hello? Hey! Oh my God. Hang on. So everybody, we got a caller, and it's Alex Philippe from Dock of the Dead. This is timely. Wow. 2 in one night. So Alex, with all that's going on outside, you know what? I think this is a great time to ask you about zombies and your project, because I think this is something that we could definitely use right now.
Sure.
So awesome. Since we last spoke, you had some good news about the movie. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, essentially the film is now being executive produced by Epix, and we've been working, just basically around the clock on it. And it will be released early next year. So, we're still working on our, worldwide, festival premiere, but it will definitely be on Epix, I believe in March.
Wonderful. That's great. And so with the pickup, has this allowed you to do some things that you previously wanted to include but weren't able to, that were kind of hindered by a delay?
Oh, absolutely. And obviously, you need funding for projects of this scope. And, we've been able to do a number of production trips. We've interviewed, first of all, a number of just, wonderful, great zombie icons. Recently with, Bruce Campbell and Tom Savini and Charlie Adler. Tomorrow morning, actually having an interview with Robert Kirkman.
Wonderful.
So on that front, it's been going great. I sent my director of photography, Robert Muratori, to Haiti for a few days, and that was quite the experience. He came back with some incredible footage as well. We went to the UK. We went, all over the East Coast. Went to the Living Dead Film Festival in Evans City. Got to, talk to some original cast members from Night of the Living Dead. The list goes on and on. But I'm very, very excited with where we're at right now. We actually have a rough cut of the film already. So.
Wonderful. And I was going to ask, I'd heard about you possibly going to Haiti. What happened there, and what was that like? Can you give any kind of details on that? Because that would be trippy as hell.
Yeah, well, there is, by all accounts, evidence of zombification. I mean, that's not new. It is something that exists. I mean, we're not talking about, the dead actually coming back to life. But we're talking about people being, poisoned with this, this powder. I mean, it's a very strange, in fact, spiritual thing. Robert got to interview the Max Beauvoir, who is known as the Pope of Voodoo. I mean, he is the supreme head of Voodoo in Haiti, and what he has to say about zombification it's kind of mind blowing. So. I don't want to give away too much. There's some really interesting and kind of eye-opening, mind-opening, and frankly a little creepy things that we have from that. So the Haiti segment is definitely very cool.
Wow, that sounds. Was there any sort of? I've never been to Haiti, and I'm just always hearing just really amazing things about. And seeing things. I just recently saw another photograph of someone that it was almost like it looked like a walking mummy. And I don't know. And did you get any, did he see any of that going on there? Can you talk about that?
Well, you can't. Well, and that's the thing, is that there have been many attempts to actually, capture that, and that's going to be probably a very fruitless, element to capture, or it's going to require a substantial amount of time and money to get to that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting because you're dealing with something that, there is a certain amount of evidence to back it up. But at the same time, there's also a certain amount of folklore around it.
Mm-hmm.
And the result is that it's a very mysterious, thing. And it's also, again, like, as I said, it is spiritual. I mean, Max Goldwar talks very specifically about this, and it's a spiritual thing. And you have to look at voodoo as a religion and not as I think there's a lot of misconception about voodoo, as being this kind of, dark magic, cult, but it is a religion. And, and I think their concept, of zombification, assuming that it's real, has nothing to do with the concept of the zombie as we experience it through Hollywood,
Well, and that's the one thing that I was really happy to see that you were doing. You aren't just doing the Hollywood part; you're doing all these different aspects.
Yeah, that's correct. And I mean, we are really looking at the evolution of the zombie. I mean, really from its origins in Africa all the way to Haiti. And, slavery is a big part of that narrative, and we're actually trying to make that point. To the modern zombie, of course, with Night of the Living Dead, into, all the way to where we're at now with, this extraordinary explosion of zombies in popular culture. I mean, you're looking at, the survivalist, movement. We're getting into zombie, zombie entomology. We actually interviewed a famous entomologist who specializes in zombie ants, and who's in fact responsible for the way that zombies move in World War Z, the movie. So we're really looking at every possible facet you can imagine of zombies in pop culture, and really asking the question, what is happening in culture today? Why are they so incredibly popular? What exactly has happened?
Well, and that was one thing I wanted to ask you about, was with the Walking Dead phenomenon just taking over. I mean, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
We've seen it on daytime television now. We've seen it on the cover of nearly every magazine you see at the supermarket. Do you think we're getting to like an overload, or is there something going on here that, what in your mind, what do you think is causing this mass migration to this genre from people that don't even know about it, that have never liked zombies before in their life?
Yeah, the bad news for those people is that they're probably here to stay. They're here to stay for a while, I think. There's a lot of different theories, and the one that I tend to gravitate towards is this notion that zombies, unlike their, vampires or werewolf counterparts, are kind of the everyman. They're the geeks. They're the regular people. And we're seeing, we've seen in recent years, especially because of all the political and economic, issues that have been plaguing society and really around the world. I think people are fed up. People are going to the streets, and people are organizing, and, you're seeing the Arab Spring, you're seeing, obviously all kinds of movements in the United States. And I think people are trying to empower themselves. And I think there is, in my mind anyway, a very, direct correlation between what's happening in society and zombies. We spoke with Sarah Laurel, who's a zombie cultural expert, and she talks about the fact that the zombie walks are a tacit message, if you will, to governments. And look, we're having fun, here we are, we're bringing 10, 15, 20,000 people together, and we're all zombies, and it's all in good fun. But if we wanted, we could start a revolution. And so if you start looking at it that way, it may be, perhaps there is a message that is being conveyed. And, the other school of thought is it's just fun, which is also very valid. And I think there's probably a little bit of both. Yes, it's fun, but yes, there's also a reason why. We're seeing so many people, congregating and being zombies.
Well, and the one thing I saw, there was a cartoon going around online that was talking about how you look at zombies as opposed to the regular people, and zombies never hurt one another. They travel in groups, and they're supportive, and they don't see any differences between one another. It's like, wow, man, I want to be a zombie. It's really funny. Like, I guess that in like Day of the Dead, it's sort of a big example of that with Bub and his reaction to his friend dying in the form of the scientist and all, and his got more humanity than the humans.
Yeah, and in fact, Dr. Steve Schlossman, who wrote the zombie autopsies, also talks about this, that when you go to a zombie walk or a zombie, event of some kind, people are actually nice to each other, and you can't say the same of, people going to a football game or a soccer game, and yet when they're the living dead, they're very nice and courteous to one another, So there is that, and it's funny because most of them, of course, only groan. There's no real communication. Maybe they'll say brains, if they're a Return of the Living Dead type zombie. But that's as far as the communication will go. And yet there's a great sense of community, of respect, and it's a beautiful thing that way. I mean, in a way, in many ways, it reminds me of going to San Diego Comic-Con, where. Right. There's so many people, but there is that almost unwritten code of geeks that, we're going to respect you no matter what. Right. Which it's funny to me that pop culture does that to people, but yet religion and politics do the exact opposite.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's true. It's like, I don't know. You would think with religion more so, since it's supposed to be about love, that it would be more brotherhood, creating, but it's just the opposite. Yet, you have people that love the same things like this. They tend to be nice to one another because they see a kindred spirit in that person.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think there's actually a great deal to learn from pop culture and from the tolerance that it creates, across the board. And I just really get fed up by people just kind of dismissing pop culture as something that's unimportant when this is the one thing in our global culture that really brings people together. I'll use Gangnam Style as an example. When over 1 billion people download this thing, and it doesn't matter what language you speak. If you start doing the Gangnam Style dance, whether you're here in Korea or in Africa, you're going to put a smile on people's faces. You're going to make friends. And so pop culture is extremely important. And, it would be nice to see politics and religion, kind of learning from that.
Right. Well, and it's like, look at Star Trek. It's the same. Yeah. It's a prime example of worldwide people gravitate and love this thing.
Absolutely.
And I love the fact that Roddenberry used, and it's the same with Romero. They both used the medium as a way of telling a story and giving a morality tale to you that people pick up on, even if they don't realize it.
Absolutely. Of course, as we all know, Star Wars may be a little more contentious.
Oh, yeah, Star Wars, yes.
In some areas.
And I said Star Trek. Keep in mind, I said Star Trek.
Yeah, I know. And of course, it's still in good time. Yeah, we all know that. But we're not going to talk about George Lucas.
No, we won't talk about George Lucas. No, I refuse. So kind of more kind of veering off from that. I was just curious, who's been your favorite interview so far for this, and what was the most surprising answer that you got about when you were questioning people about zombies?
I would say probably hands down my favorite interview was Bruce Campbell. Yeah, he was really really funny. And there's definitely a couple of surprises I think that people are going to have in the film with him. I'm not going to say anything, but it's he's a lot of fun. As far as the most surprising answer, I mean, that's a tough one. One thing I will say that really surprised me in a way is when we talk to George Romero, is the fact that he doesn't seem to get, why zombies have become so popular. It's beyond his comprehension, He's really sort of flabbergasted by it. And I mean, in a way, I totally understand. I mean, here's a man who at the time, made obviously a small film, small independent film that his intent was to make a good film, which he did. But to look at where we are now, 45 years later, and kind of what has happened. I think if I were in the shoes, I'd probably also be shaking my head and thinking, what the hell is going on here? So it's kind of a beautiful thing, because I look at, obviously, I've spent a lot of time thinking about George Lucas in the past few years with my previous film, and now spending a lot of time thinking about George Romero, and to me, it's almost a tale of two Georges. And, they both created a universe that has grown so much bigger than they are. And they both really handled those universes in completely different ways. George Romero has just let go of it. And, he's kind of shaking his head and he doesn't really understand what's going on. George Lucas tried to really keep it very, very close to the chest. And finally now he's letting go of it, So there's some interesting parallels, I think, between these two.
Yeah, and that's interesting that you say that, because it is true. And so Tale of Two Georges, I really like that. Who would you love to interview that you haven't had the opportunity to yet, or may not get a chance to?
There's a lot of people, and that's the tough, frustrating thing about making documentaries is that sometimes it's an issue of schedule, but oftentimes you try to deal with agents, and agents don't really, they think you're just going to waste their client's time, which is really a shame.
Oh, I know that feeling.
So it's tough. It's tough to get to the right people. I mean, of course, I would have loved to interview, Brad Pitt, certainly. We knew that was never going to happen, but nonetheless, that would have been really, I think, interesting. I think we've been very fortunate to get most, zombie icons. Greg Nicotero, actually, we did not manage yet to interview him, and I think it's mostly been a question of schedule. I've had some very nice, exchanges with him, and it just hasn't happened. I mean, we perhaps it's going to happen in November. I don't know, but we're pretty much running out of time. Elijah Wood was a possibility, and we were going to have a possibility to interview him this week. And it just didn't work out, so we're going to keep trying. Maybe we'll come back next month and see if that happens. I would love to talk to Quentin Tarantino, but we were flat out, turned down. Kevin Smith also, hasn't happened. So, you could go down the list, but at the end of the day, you're going to have your hits, you're going to have your misses, and I think the story is really strong. I mean, I honestly feel that the rough cut that we have right now is a lot stronger than the rough cut that people listening to Lucas that we had, a few years ago. So I think we're in really good shape.
Oh, that's great.
Wait a minute, Jessica. I think I'm hearing something. Hold on.
Are you okay, Alex?
No, I don't know. There's something outside. Holy, jeez, Robert,
Alex!
Hold on, they're coming in the house. I don't know what's going on.
Where?
Jessica?
Are you all right?
I can't hear you. No, I
Alex?
can't.
Alex?
Oh.
Hello? Hello? Oh, I think we lost him.
Oh, shit. The fence. Look.
Holy crap, look at all of them. I think they're breaking through.
Where the hell is Troy? And why is that one dumbass laughing? Troy, what's going on out there?
They're breaking through the fence. I think Larry lied about his prowess in speed fencing.
You need to get in here and lock the door.
I'm gonna hold them off as long as I can. I managed to get a box of weapons in the hall outside your door. You'll have some way to defend yourselves at least.
Where's Larry and David?
Larry's down. I think David lost his mind. Yeah, he lost it to that guy who's now chewing on it. Well, damn it, that's it. I'm pissed. I'm going in.
Troy!
No.
With my last breath, I curse Zoidberg!
Jess, I'm so sorry.
He was a good man, Jess.
He stole that line from me.
We need to get that box he said he tossed in here.
I'll go. Keep an eye out to see how close they are. The doors are locked to the radio station. Maybe that will keep them out.
There's a video set up. We can watch you on it and make sure you're okay. Security cameras. I forgot about those.
All right. I'm heading out.
Jesus, that's a big box. Can she carry that?
Adrenaline is awesome. Yeah, she'll carry it.
Dude, we have an arsenal.
I'm glad all those hours spent playing House of the Dead were not a waste of time.
Ooh, say hello to my little friend.
Groovy. So now what do we do?
I don't know. I guess just wait and see. Maybe the army will come.
Doesn't everyone say that and assume the army will come? And then they never do.
Well, they did in the mist.
Not a good example of what to do waiting for the army to come, Rachel.
Well, maybe if this is, I don't know, our final hours, we should maybe come clean on things.
What do you mean, come clean on things?
I think she means we admit to things we've never admitted to. I guess this is as good a time as any. Captive audience, captive host, as it were.
Yeah, fangirl confessions.
All right, listeners. You're going through this with us, so it's fangirl confession time. I'd say one truth and one regret. I don't know if we have time for anything else, and I'm almost afraid to know what you two are going to say.
I'll go first. I hate zombies.
Rach, that's not really a confession in the situation we're in.
Yeah, but I've never liked them. And so many people love The Walking Dead. I just sort of played along because I was afraid that a Daryl Dixon fan would shove a dead squirrel at my butt if I told him I didn't like it.
That's graphic.
It's that sort of a night.
So, that's my confession. My regret, I never touched Benedict Cumberbatch's neck. You know, that part right there.
His photos seem to be pure neck porn with pop collars. I'm guessing that's not an original regret for a lot of women or guys these days.
Original or not, that's mine.
Okay, I'll go next. My confession? I never stopped loving Simon Pegg.
That's really not a confession, Jess.
Yeah, it is. With all the Johnny Depp come-latelys, Simon still has my heart.
Oh, there's something oddly sweet about that.
You guys call me weird.
So, what's your regret?
I didn't sniff David Tennant's hair.
Wait, your husband just gave his life defending us from raving brain eaters, and that's your regret?
David Tennant's hair was right there.
Wow.
In her defense, it is David Tennant's hair.
Wow.
So, Barb, what's yours?
My confession? I always secretly had a thing for Edward Cullen.
What?
Not even going to lie.
Honestly, dying right now may be the only way to save your credibility.
Meh, to each their own, I guess.
You think you know people. So now I have to hear this. What's your regret?
I never got to see if Tom Hiddleston's cheekbones were as sharp as they look on screen in real life.
Okay, I can respect that.
Totally valid.
Wait a minute. Tom Hiddleston. Oh, crap.
What?
Oh, God. I forgot about the green room. In all of this crazy, I forgot about the green room.
What's in the green room, Jessica?
More to the point, who's in the green room, Jessica?
Oh, crap! They've broken through the door!
Look, you can see them funneling into the hallway.
Oh, crap! They're going to the green room.
Who's in there, Jessica?
Oh, my God!
Oh. Damn. Well, there you can see.
Are you freaking kidding me?
Holy crap.
Yeah, remember when I said this was going to be a special episode? Well, I sort of went above and beyond on the special. I sent out an invite to the holy trio of Brits, and well, there's Cumberbatch and there's Hiddleston.
We have to save them!
Oh my God!
I think we may have missed that boat.
Benny, no!
Well, damn, that's not what they meant by feeding guests in the green room.
You said holy trio. Who was the third one? Because I didn't see anybody else in there before the green room became, I guess, the red room.
It was Simon Pegg, but he never showed. Probably for the best.
Not really. We probably could have used them.
Guys, they look like they're heading this way.
Well, I guess this is it.
It's been an honor.
Same here.
Ditto.
All right, let's show these prehistoric bitches how we do things downtown.
I'm gonna miss Bill Murray.
Ironically, he died in Zombieland. I thought it appropriate.
Try not to cross the streams of bullets.
They're here.
Betty!
Rachel, no! He's a zombie! Look at him! Aim for the head!
I can't! His face is still perfect!
And it's covered in blood.
Not to mention the gaping wound in his chest where his heart was.
Oh, Betty! You can have my heart! It's always been yours!
Rachel, no!
I regret nothing!
Well, damn.
That's dedication. Oh shit, Hiddles!
Well, he's got one cheekbone left. Does it live up to your expectations?
Yes. Yes, it does. And now it matches the other one on the floor.
There's too many of them. I don't know we can hold them off for much longer.
We're running out of bullets.
And that too. Help me get this table planted against the door. That should buy us a bit of time.
Or not.
What do we do now?
Come on, people, what the hell?
Norman Reedus! Holy crap! He's motioning us for us to get over there.
But it's a motorcycle. He can only take one of us.
I guess we draw straws.
Looks like I drew first. Punch it, Reedus.
One wrong move, you get an arrow in the ass, just so you know.
Oh, God. She shot me. What a solo wannabe asshat. How am I not dead? electronics name badge you gave your plastic self for me. Well, I don't know if we're still on the air, but this may be the last broadcast for yours truly. They're about to break through, and I can hear them outside in the parking lot. I think this is it, everyone. I hope I have a bullet left in this gun for my head.
You want a piece of me? Come get some.
What the hell?
Heads up.
Simon Pegg!
Now come on! There's no need for us to be here any longer than necessary. Let's split up, look for survivors, and get out of here!
Deal! Actually, I don't think there are any other survivors. We're it! Oh! Rachel!
Cumber brains.
Damn it! Well, this will work. Ugh. Sorry you had to hear that, listeners. Radio just killed the radio star, but at least I found a use for that microphone. And here I thought we'd be dead by dawn.
Don't cheapen this.
Hail to the king, baby. Well, if anyone's left alive to listen, this is Jessica Dwyer, escaping with Simon Pegg into a zombie apocalypse. Yeah, I know, right? Happy Halloween!